Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark with the Mad Movie Mark Movie Review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 2023 Italian comedy drama There's Still Tomorrow.
La retta sta scema.
Hey, that's not very nice to say. I mean, it might be true, but that's not something we say out loud. There's Still Tomorrow has a 100% fresh rating from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes and a 90% fresh rating from the audience. I'm currently reviewing every movie that has a 100% fresh rating from the critics in chronological order. This movie was directed by and stars Paula Cortellesi as Delia, and I'll start by saying that this movie is listed as a drama comedy, but I'm not sure which parts were supposed to be funny. Now, I will say I absolutely love this movie. I think it's a fantastic, emotional, very moving, touching movie. But I'm a little scared at what parts were supposed to be funny because I think it's the parts that I didn't enjoy. So we'll start with the ending of this movie because I think the ending is where there's going to be the most contention. If people are going to say that there was one part of this movie they don't like, it's going to be the ending. And I don't necessarily think that's fair. I do believe that the movie was setting us up for a different ending than what we got, or at least maybe I just didn't understand what was going on towards the end of the movie. Now, personally, I thought at the end of the movie, movie is basically about a woman who has 3 children, 2 very young boys, one woman, one older female daughter who is of marriage age, and she is set to get married to this somewhat wealthy guy who seems like he's not a very good person. Now, Delia is also married, and she's married to a very bad person who beats her, who berates her, who treats her terribly. Now, I'm assuming that this is how this was during post-war Italy, but she is just treated very badly by this man. At the end of the movie, I believe the audience was led to believe that Delia was going to leave her family and go away with this guy, this mechanic, who she knew when she was younger, who also was in love with her. And there was this big setup. They even show him later because he's getting ready to leave town. He has another job he's going to take somewhere else that pays better. It seems like he's somewhat convinced her to leave, and all this domestic violence that she's had to put up with throughout the movie and everything that she has to go through, her friends telling her that her husband is not a very good person and that she should get out of the situation. There's an American soldier who sees that she is just every day she is more beaten up than she was before because her husband continuously beats her all the time, and he kind of tells her that she needs to get out of the situation. So at the end of the movie, I think the audience is led to believe that she is going to get out of the situation. Now, this is going to be a spoiler, obviously, that she is ready to leave. She seems like she's going to go somewhere. She has all this money that she has saved up. She ends up giving the money to her daughter, but it seems like she's going to go somewhere. And I think that we are supposed to believe that she's going to leave her husband and go to this mechanic. I didn't see any other evidence to show anything else. Now, probably I'm wrong because I do sometimes miss things in movies. I'm just a regular person watching movies. I do miss things sometimes, but that's what I thought was going to happen. But at the end of the movie, what she actually does is this is like the first time that women can vote, or they're being allowed to vote to say if women can vote in future elections. There's some sort of event going on where women can vote for the first time, and it's going to decide the future if they can vote later in the history of Italy. And she goes down there by herself, but she's surrounded by other women in the town, and there's a huge outpouring of women who come to do this, and she votes. And that's like the big ending where she is trying to have a decent future for her daughter. She's trying to give her daughter the right to have a say in her life. She's trying to give her more freedoms. She's basically doing this for her daughter's sake, and she is not actually leaving her husband. And I think a lot of people have an issue with this because she's just going to probably go back to her husband, where she's going to get mistreated and she's going to get beaten and treated terribly. And it's really a sad ending for her, but the whole point of it was to for the future, was to give her daughter a future and to have her daughter have a better life than what she has. Now, the mom in this movie is pretty set in where she's at. Now, if she had left her husband, she would have left her two younger sons. She would have left a life that she's pretty ingrained in, and I didn't really see that happening, though there was a lot of hope. There was a lot of hope at the end of the movie that she would get out of the situation, but it's a really hard situation to get out of, and I wasn't too believing in that she would actually do it, because there's just a lot of things that go along with leaving children behind, leaving a husband behind who doesn't really know how to take care of himself. It would have been great if she could have done it, but it wasn't too believable. I think there was just a lot of hope there, and not a lot of, it wasn't actually ingrained in anything that would be possible. But the fact that she is able to give her daughter a better future, give her daughter a better life, and hopefully other women who come after her, I think makes the ending a decent ending. She's basically sacrificing herself for the good of the future, and that is a satisfying ending, even though she knows what she's going back to, even though you know what she's going back to. There's not a whole lot that can be done. I mean, she can try to leave her husband, but what is she going to do? What is she going to live off on? There's no guarantee that this other guy she was going to be with was going to be any better, though, you know, you should maybe go out and try if you want. But she really does have her life figured, like her life is settled here, essentially, is what they're saying. But what she can do is she can help the future. I thought that was a good enough ending. Now, in the movie, there are weird scenes to me where there is domestic violence going on. There is a lot of abuse going on. There's one particular scene that really kind of struck me the wrong way, where he starts beating her up, but like it turns into this musical dance sequence, which I thought was really weird, and I thought it kind of tried to put this like happy take on her getting beaten up, which, not happy I would say, but it kind of whitewashes it a little bit, which is really bizarre. But then later in the movie, they do discuss how terrible this is and how he shouldn't be doing this. His father in the movie, who lives with him, and Delia even tells him, like, hey, look, you're giving her a terrible life. You need to stop beating on her. But he also claims that the family really took the wrong turn when people stopped marrying their cousins, and marrying their cousins was really the way to go. And he's like, I married my cousin, and she knew exactly how things were. She never mouthed off. She never spoke up. She never tried to defend herself. She knew I was the man and I was in charge, because that's how it is in this family, type of thing. So, you know, you have to take what he says with a grain of salt, because, I mean, marrying your cousin is kind of cringe. But even he says, like, you need to stop beating your wife, and then it doesn't end up happening. Now, this was a time in Italy, I'm sure, where it's really hard to speak out against your husband, and I mean, I don't think there's any real laws against your husband beating you, because it seems like a lot of this happens throughout this movie, and even the daughter, whose name is Marcella, sorry, the husband's name is Ivano. The daughter, whose name is Marcella, she is also engaged in this movie. She's engaged to someone who is wealthy. And later in the movie, Delia sees a glimpse into the future when Marcella's husband says, like, you're mine, you can only wear makeup around me, you're basically my property, you're going to quit your job when we get married, type of thing. So she sees that Marcella is going down the same road that she went down, and she sees that this fiance of hers is going to one day be abusive, is going to be controlling. And I think that's also one reason why she decides that she's definitely going to go vote to try to give her daughter rights. But what she also does is she talks to Marcella and she says, hey, look, can you please not marry this guy, or can you at least think about it, because he's the wrong guy for you. He's going to be a really bad person. And she basically says, like, hey, look, you're not one to talk. You picked a really bad person too. He beats you all the time. Why should I listen to you? Like, your taste in men is terrible, and I don't think you really have any room to talk here. So what Delia ends up doing is she earlier in the movie she met an American soldier whom she helped out. She helped him with something, and he was very indebted to her. And he saw that she gets beat up all the time, and he basically says, like, if you need something from me, let me know. I care about the situation you're in. I care about what you're going through. So Marcella's fiance, her family owns like this cafe, and they make all this money with the cafe. Now, Ivano, he doesn't care that his daughter is marrying someone who's abusive. He doesn't care if they love each other. He just cares that the fiance has this cafe and that he is going to be financially stable for the rest of his life. That his family is going to be financially well off. He doesn't have to worry about money anymore because his daughter is marrying someone who has a lot of money and she's marrying into money, and that's all he cares about. So when Delia learns this and she realizes that her daughter is stuck like she is, like there's going to be no way out once she gets married. It's going to be a dead end road because marriage for them is like there is no divorce, there is no separation. Like marriage is it, it's final. She asks the American soldier to basically plant C4 in the cafe and blow it up so that that family has nothing anymore. They have no financial stability and they have no real reason for the marriage to go through because there's no money there. So the American soldier does it, and Ivano immediately calls off the wedding with his daughter and fiance because now there's no financial crutch. And of course the daughter is devastated because she loved this person. Now, did he love her? I don't know. He loved being in charge. He loved being the person. He loved having someone that he could control. Did he love her? I don't really know. We don't really see him after this point in the movie. And after that is when Delia decides that she's going to go vote to give her daughter a better life. And I absolutely love that. Like, of course, the end of the movie, I wanted her to get away. I wanted her to get out of the situation. But I mean, how can you argue with a mother who's sacrificing herself and sacrificing her happiness and her sanity and everything she has for her daughter's future? It is a great. I mean, not all endings are going to be 100% happy in movies, but there should be some sort of satisfaction at the end of the movie. There should be some sort of relief. There should be some sort of you should be left feeling like this is a satisfying way to end it. And I did. I felt like although it wasn't completely what I wanted, it wasn't 100%, this is real life. This is how things happen. It's hard to get out of these type of relationships. She is older. She has children with him. She has a life with him. And she did what she could to help her daughter's future. And that is somewhat satisfying. I, of course, don't agree with the abuse in the movie. There was another Italian movie I saw called La Atalante, I believe that's what it's called, where there is emotional and physical abuse going on in the movie as well, which is another Italian movie. And I just rallied against that movie, talking about how bad it was because of all the abuse that was going on. At least at the end of this movie, there's some positivity, where at the end of the other movie, there wasn't. So there's at least some hope for the future. There's some hope that this cycle will stop. And I think that leaves the movie on a good note. So I give this movie a 9 out of 10. I thought it was really good. I don't think I mentioned this yet. I'm not sure, I don't remember, but what I meant to mention also is that this movie is beautiful. Like, the cinematography in this movie is fantastic. It looks amazing. The music, the score, everything about it just flows really well. It's probably one of the most dazzling movies I've seen when it comes to cinematography and music used together. There's just something about the black and white and the cinematography, the camera shots, everything is it just looks fantastic. Like, this movie is amazing looking, and I was just awestruck by how beautiful I thought it was. But anyway, it's a 9 out of 10. I hope you join me next time when I review a movie called My Favorite Cake, which is going to be the first 2024 movie on this list. I have 4 more movies to review after this before my Rotten Tomatoes list is complete. So thank you. I hope you join me for the next review.